How are you, Hunter? Thank you so much for accepting the invitation, and I'm so happy that you are here. And I'm very excited because this is my first interview in English. So
Well, we're going to speak Spanish too if you want.
cool. But I'm very brave because I don't like to talk in English on video.
Well,
But
you speak perfect English, so
thank you. So how are you, Hunter?
I'm good. It's Sunday, finally a day to rest a little bit. Sunny. We're getting ready to move into spring here, hopefully, in North Georgia. It's been cold and rainy for 2 or 3 months, so we're ready to move it along and get into some warmer weather.
Cool.
How are you out
I'm
there?
I'm good. It's kind of cold in Vegas,
Vegas?
but it's really pretty outside. I love these season. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm from tropical weather, but I love cold weather, and I really enjoy it when
Yeah, well,
when
I
it's
think a
cold.
lot of Venezuelans like it. And when it snows, that's something, obviously, unless you're in Los Andes, you're not going to see that in Venezuela. So.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna talk. So I'm gonna tell you guys. I found Hunter on Instagram, and it surprised me that he was very aware of the whole situation in Venezuela, but also the guy is a patriot like me, and he's a Trump supporter, and he is very aware of what's going on in Venezuela, and also what is happening in this country. So first of all, how you are so familiar with the Venezuelan situation?
So, let's see. Gosh, this was April, maybe April 4th, the first week in April, probably in 2017.
Okay.
I was reading. My background is finance and banking, so I'm always interested in um, economic topics all over the world. And I knew about Venezuela. You see the memes and the jokes about inflation and
Yep.
eating trash and stuff, which is not a joke, but I was reading about Bitcoin and how they were mining Bitcoins in Venezuela because state the state essentially subsidizes the power, so it
Yep.
makes it profitable to actually mine Bitcoins, which in the United States really wouldn't be.
Hmm.
And so I'm reading that, and then 3 hours later, after reading all of these things about the disastrous economy,
Hmm.
I just became very hyper aware of the Venezuelan situation. Now at that time was working at a sales job throughout, and my territory was really all of Atlanta, all of Metro Atlanta,
Hmm.
and I started seeing Venezuelans everywhere. Everywhere I'd go into, there was a Venezuelan girl working, as a administratora, or a vendedor, or a Venezuelan food. And I say, wow, I've lived in Atlanta my entire life, and I've never met a Venezuelan person, I don't think.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, I felt like you guys were following me everywhere. Um,
We're
so
invading.
yes, yes, yes. So so I started getting involved. There are some estimates from lawyers that I know and trust, immigration lawyers, that there could be anywhere between 30 and 35,000 Venezuelans in Georgia, but specifically in the Atlanta area. So that's insane, and that's
Wow.
noticeable, right? I mean, you tend to notice that when it's around. I think we're up to like 25, 26 some odd Venezuelan restaurants only in Metro Atlanta.
Wow, that's a
Yep.
lot. We
So if that
only
doesn't tell you,
Wow, we only have two here in Nevada, in Las Vegas, two restaurants. And the community is growing a lot. A lot of people from Florida are moving here, and yeah, it's growing. Wow, that's crazy. So that's how you got familiar with the whole thing about Venezuela.
yeah, and I just became intrigued with the culture and the people. Everybody I met had a different story, and really fascinating people, culture. Um, just kind of immersed myself in the people, and got involved with some charitable organizations, I guess. In Venezuela, you say ONG,
Uh-huh.
but actually, we were sending supplies down to Venezuela to various organizations, and I still keep in contact. I'm sure you know Rafael. Ricardo Martins, these type of folks. Manos a la obra por Venezuela in Maracaibo. So there's just a lot of them out there, and they all need help. And one of my kind of one of my callings, or one of my the attitude or the mindset that I have is, we can send food there all day long, and we could provide medicines, and we could, you could drop $100,000, but it'd be gone the next day. And
Yep.
so my mind is to create, or try to find a way, although it is difficult, to create investments down there that would regenerate, right? That would create more income, that would multiply, so more people have an opportunity. Uh, the people have to taste capitalism. They want it. Naturally, every human wants the ability to grow, but they got to have it presented and taught and reprogrammed, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's true. And definitely, we need to talk about the political side of all these, because, I mean, sadly, the reason why, any help that you send there won't last is because the whole system, you know, is based on socialism, and Marxism, and I'm I think that people do not understand why they are in the situation that they are. I mean, it's like my husband tells me all the time, yeah, you guys over there, you just fight for food and, eating better, but you don't realize what is the root of the problem. That the political leadership, and I'm talking about the opposition, is the same as the government. They're socialist. And you and I know that we have sent tons of money to Venezuela, and
Over $1 billion since
over
fiscal
a
year
billion dollars.
since
Exactly.
2017. And with $1 billion, you could those
Yeah.
type of investments. I mean, that is exponential in Venezuela. That is huge money. It's not huge money in the past. That was chump change. They make more money in oil than that in one day. But the bottom line is, with that type of thing directed in the right direction, that changes the world, and nothing's changed. In fact, it's gotten worse. So the only thing that's changed is that political opposition has become more wealthy. Imagine that.
Exactly. Exactly. They are all over the world living a luxury life. So we're talking about people that they haven't had a job for, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Yep.
And they live like kings.
They might
Um,
live better than you and I, and we work.
exactly. And we're still paying taxes.
Right.
And it doesn't bother me that they're trying to help people over there. What it bothers me is that my money doesn't get to the people that needs it. And
They never will.
never
It's,
will.
it's not
Yeah.
going to.
And yeah. And when I see, like, for example, Vecchio, which is the official ambassador here, the Venezuelan ambassador here in the United States, and he's just keep asking for more money. It's like, when this is gonna stop? I mean, when?
Well, it's to me, and most people don't understand this, and a lot of Americans, even relatively informed Americans, don't understand the power of the lobby of
Hmm.
our the lobby, the Venezuelan lobby. And these people may say they're opposition and they want, this, but they're actually lobbying the United States government now, and did the whole time Trump was in office, to relieve the sanctions on Maduro. Now, why in the hell would you want to make life easier for a murderous dictator? Well, the only really short answer for that is because you're on his team. Like,
Exactly.
you're on the
Exactly.
same team. So that's very easy for me to see. A lot of, and back to your initial point, a lot of Venezuelans don't understand that. They don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it because they're so desperate, and they're so, for lack of a better word, just mind effed, that they can't understand that these people that appear to be a savior are not there to save them. They're maintaining a perpetual control, and they're paid off. And that's the easiest way to put it. There are some brave ones, but even the brave ones are paid off.
Yep. It seems like they're just making a living from the Venezuelan suffering,
Of
which is
course, and
is
all the inevitable amount of foreign aid that's going to come in. Well, who controls that?
Yeah, which is very evil,
Yeah.
honestly. Um, so now that we are talking, you are very aware of the Venezuelan situation. I mean, do you, when you compare the Venezuelan situation and the what is happening here with Biden, I mean, do you feel that this country is going into that direction?
Well, it's the same people that are pushing all of this and creating all this. This money all comes from the same place and the same ideology. So,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And I tell people the United States right now is no different than Venezuela. We just held a banana republic election, and you can say whatever you want. That proof eventually will come out one day, and it is there already, and it's already out. But of course,
Mm-hmm.
the media is going to choose to ignore that, and that's fine. But I think people, even that voted for Biden, however many votes that wasn't many. Um, they're now starting to understand when they look at the gas pump and they go, "Holy shoot!"
Mm-hmm.
Gas is about to be $3, and in some places, I don't know because I don't consider California a part of this country, but I'm sure in California it's already over $3, $4. I don't even know, and I don't care. But in North Georgia, where gas is generally pretty inexpensive, in South Carolina, I'm pushing. I filled up for 260 the other day. So these are little things that people who are easily manipulated by politicians, they don't understand that until it hits their pocketbook. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy to watch them pay for the decisions that they made.
My husband says the same thing.
Yeah, I don't care.
He's like, I don't care. In fact, the gas in California was $5.49.
Perfect. Okay. See, that doesn't
Keep
even matter to
going.
me. No, they can eat it. They can eat that. They can pay 10. It could be like France. I don't care.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's really sad. So Hunter, there is something that gives me hope in this country, and first is the patriotism that people have here, because if I compare that with Venezuela, to be honest, I don't think that we are a nation with identity, and maybe you know that. I mean, we always were thought that we have a great geography and all that, but as an identity like an American has here, we don't have that, and that's the true. I don't care what people say, but that's the true.
Yeah, that's by
And
design, probably.
yes,
And likewise, the patriotism that we have is by design. And so I'm not going to say that one is better than the other. I mean, some people might say that we're brainwashed into trusting our own government to the point where
hmm
the United States could do anything and we would never claim fault for it. We would never do anything. And to a certain extent, that's happened in the past.
hmm
But I think you're right. I think in Venezuela, maybe the identity is more focused on a culture,
hmm
music, dancing, beautiful weather,
hmm
uh, very rich in resources. Now, I will say that probably all of this has created a certain amount of Venezuelans that are extremely patriotic and that do want to see their country taken back. And so that definitely is a cause for hope.
yeah, and I think that the patriotism that we have here is what will help us to save this country,
Well,
because
and the
if
guns.
exactly, and that's my other point, and the Second Amendment, which we never had in Venezuela. um, um, and I consider myself, a patriot, because even though I was born in Venezuela, I became a citizen 4 years ago, and I love this country, because this country gave me what my home country didn't give me. So here's the thing: the last thing that I heard from Biden is that he was trying to put a lot of regulations to buy guns, and he is planning to go after the NRA. Um, I still think that people are no awake enough in this country,
Mm-hmm.
and that scares me a lot, because that's what happened in Venezuela. Chavez got rid of all the guns in 2003, no, 2006, sorry. And look what happened. You, as an American, you can tell people how important is the Second Amendment.
Well, I mean, look, I can speak to this very, very personally with
Hmm.
respect to the situation that a Venezuelan face. Why? One, I girlfriend is Venezuelan. She was persecuted. I have another Venezuelan couple that lives with me. They're
Hmm.
persecuted, but I also have literally, personally, in Cucuta, stood in front of armed Venezuelan military and thrown rocks. Um, and Molotov cocktails. Not me on those, but I've seen that, and let me tell you something. If there would have been one or two armed citizens there, you could have solved that situation, or at least put a dent in it pretty quickly. And people think that's so far off in the United States. They
Hmm.
think that that will never happen, but they're telling you that that's what they want to do. And so when it's the saying is when somebody tells you who they are or what they're trying to do, you should believe them first. You should believe them.
Yeah.
And that bill's already going through Congress. I mean, this isn't something that's like, oh, it's never going to happen. And they're not trying to chip away. I mean, they're going full on. And that could create a very, very nasty situation. And I want people to also understand something else. They don't just do this through legislation, legislation, right? They will
Hmm.
say, well, now we're going to write in here that if you ever have a mental disability or something like that, well,
Hmm.
you can't own guns because you're not mentally stable, or at least we're gonna scrutinize your owning of guns. Well, guess what they consider mental disability? ADHD or ADD. Now,
Hmm.
how many kids in this generation do you know that were diagnosed with that
Hmm.
so they could sit in school and do their work because they don't want to be sitting in a classroom all day? How many kids were diagnosed with ADHD, a mental disability? Even a kid who's totally normal that just
Yeah.
doesn't happen to want to sit in a classroom all day. Well, that guy or that gal now has a mark on their record because they have a medical record that says they had a mental disability and they're not fit to own guns. And you know how many? Do you know how many kids that is in this country?
A
Tens of
lot.
millions.
A
Tens of
lot.
millions. So people need to understand that they're coming for them, and there's only one way that that ends. And you either fight legally and politically to do that, or you're throwing rocks at the government who's armed, and that's your options.
Yeah. And believe.
One day, that's the option.
Yep. And believe me, there is not fair fight when that happens. Throwing rocks versus someone who has guns,
Right.
and you know that, and I experienced that for years in Venezuela.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's just very scary, and I pray to God that this country, something good happen in this country, and I have faith that we can take Congress in 22. So
Yeah.
obviously, we need to fix the voting system, though.
Yeah. So my outlook on this now, and I hate to be negative,
Hmm.
is once they've taken it, like
Yep.
once you allow them to steal it, you can never have a right one again. You in your head, and now this is the plan, right? This is by design. We could
Hmm.
probably have another fair election and easily win, right?
Hmm.
But it'll never be that way again. And now there are millions of people like me who probably won't vote. I mean, to be quite honest, I may, and I probably will, but when I walk into that voting booth in my Lumpkin County in North Georgia, a 90% conservative county by vote,
Hmm.
traditionally 85, 90%, and I see Dominion voting,
Exactly.
and you walk into Venezuelan polling place and you see Dominion voting, that's why I'm telling you, people have to be real about this. It's not, we're no different right now. We are the same
Yep.
country. We just happen to print our own money and have a better military. And that's it. That's actually the only difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think that people realize that, honestly.
Well, they're going to learn.
Well, yeah. Yeah. And I hope they will, because I don't want to lose this country, man. You know how hard
It's the
it's
last
to.
one on earth.
Yeah.
It's the last one on earth.
There's no place to go. I mean,
No, there's no place to go.
you see Europe and it's a mess. Uh,
Canada,
Canada is like Cuba.
Australia.
Yeah, it's just horrible what is happening. So, my last question, and then we can do like a little segment in Spanish so people can know about you.
Sure.
Do you need to be on Twitter? Seriously, you will be great on Twitter.
No, I got enough to do and worry about.
So my last question is about, all these bull crap about cancel culture and what is happening in this country. And it's so funny because recently friends said that, you know what? This is bull crap. You just cannot do this.
France.
Friends. I mean,
Well, France, though, traditionally is about freedom of expression. I mean, that's the Renaissance. It is France. I
yep.
mean, but they got, now I don't trust Macron, and I don't think by any means he's some kind of, libertarian or anything like that. No, I think he's a pawn for the globalists. But somebody is saying that out of there, and they're absolutely right. I mean, maybe he means it, maybe he doesn't. I doubt it, but yeah, it's scary.
It is scary. And well, look what happened with Mike Lindell, the guy from mypillow.com. And then recently Amanda Enzi, which is she's a beauty influencer, and she got canceled by Sephora. And is and what it scares me the most is the young people promoting this crap. And which it makes me think that our education system is just crap.
It is crap.
Is a Marxist machine.
Yeah, well, of course it is, and that's what
Yeah.
that's what the university system is. That's
Yeah.
K through 12. Actually, it starts in pre-K with that Head Start stuff, and then K through 12, and then the university system. Unless you go to a private, and even if you go to a private Christian school, for example,
Mhm.
there are still liberal Marxist professors in a liberal arts Christian university.
Yep. Yep.
So
Totally true.
there's nowhere to hide, and it's truthfully the university system, in my opinion, in college is a waste of money in this country. It's a total waste of money. Some people want it. Most people shouldn't have it or don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think that people understand that. And it's funny because last night I was reading a tweet from some dude from Seattle. Obviously, Seattle is like another communist. It's a part of Canada.
Yeah.
And he was saying that, rich people shouldn't hold office because, being rich is not a big thing. It's just because you have a great idea or you just inherit the money. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about, dude? The reason why you're rich is because the system of this country that allows you to become rich. And
Right.
I don't think that they understand that.
They don't. If they don't have to work, I mean, if they never have to work up until the time that and that's a cultural thing, and that starts at home too, by the way. If they don't have to work or are never taught the value of a dollar, whether they're wealthy or not, I grew up pretty well off. I mean, I grew up in the northern suburbs of Atlanta. It doesn't get much nicer than that. But guess what? My dad made me work my ass off for everything. I had everything. I never needed anything. He always provided nice things, but I worked my ass off, and thank God I did. But I think a lot of kids are not taught that anymore, and it's going to be a problem. And when you combine that with the indoctrination, and I could go on another thing about the hormones they're putting in food to make people weaker and all that stuff, but
Yep.
that's another story.
I know.
Makes men weak. Yeah, makes men into women.
Yeah. Yeah. So, voy a hablar en español para aquellos que, para la gente en Venezuela. Hunter, tú y yo vivimos aquí, tú vives en Georgia, toda tu vida pues tú has experimentado el sistema capitalista de este país. ¿Cómo le explica uno al venezolano que para poder salir del desastre en el que ellos están, se necesita erradicar por completo el marxismo, socialismo, globalismo? Todos son hijos del mismo monstruo. E implementar un sistema que le permita a la gente prosperar.
So, en mi opinión, es 100% necesario y para varias razones. ¿Ok? Número uno, capitalismo para mí tiene mucha, ¿cómo se dice? Similarities
Yeah.
con con una vida cristiana,
Mhm.
¿verdad? ¿Ok? Es generosidad, eres trabajo duro,
Mhm.
eres usando tus talentos, ¿no?
Mhm.
Para ayudar a los demás y en retorno tú vas a recibir riqueza y
Mhm.
literalmente riqueza mm, física, moneda,
Mhm.
satisfacción,
Mhm.
¿no? Um, por eso los Estados Unidos, por eso los Estados Unidos eh, da oportunidades a
Mhm.
cualquier persona de cualquier color
Mhm.
de su piel, cualquier edad, cualquier idioma. No tiene nada que ver con la frontera de los Estados Unidos, no, tiene que ver
Mhm.
con el sistema. ¿Ok?
Mhm.
Now, obviamente hay otras cosas, sí, tenemos un militar súper super fuerte, tenemos, bueno, imprimimos plata, ¿no? Esas son cosas, sí, pero la cultura, la actitud en este país es cómo vamos a ganar, cómo vamos a lograr más cosas. Y eso no significa que somos, ¿cómo se dice greedy?
Ambiciosos.
Ambiciosos, sí, pero
Ajá.
no ambiciosos con malintenciones, ¿no?
Mhm.
Ambiciosos que no, siempre tenemos la oportunidad para lograr más. Y eso yo sé 100%, um, ya eso se fue en Venezuela. La gran mayoría de las personas que, que tienen esta mentalidad, ya hasta ellos son como deprimidos, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
No hay una manera, y literalmente en algunos casos no hay una manera para superar el gobierno, para superar las reglas, para superar la inflación.
Mhm.
Ok, so yo entiendo eso. Y algunas personas, hasta mis amigos, dicen que, well, ¿por qué no quieren trabajar? ¿Por qué no quieren lanzar un negocio? ¿Por qué no hacen eso? Ok, en algunos casos, eso no es una posibilidad.
Mhm.
La inflación día a día, um, la falta de cosas, de materiales, la falta de
Incluso
la manera
comida.
para comida para la gente a pagar, la falta de luz, la falta de... So, hay muchas
Ujú.
cosas. Pero esas cosas, variables no van a cambiar sin un nuevo sistema.
Exacto.
Olvídalo.
Sí, y yo creo que la gente no, hay un grupo de gente que sí lo entiende, pero hay otro grupo que está tan deprimido y tan sumergido en ese círculo vicioso tan negativo de que no hay esperanzas, que no pueden ver más allá de lo que está sucediendo.
Hay,
Ujú.
eso es parte de mi, no te voy a decir misión, pero eso es parte de lo que yo entiendo.
Ujú.
Este esperanza y esta mentalidad duro. Y sí, claro, es más fácil para mí compartir esta actitud, esta mentalidad, hasta en mensajes en Facebook o whatever. Pero
Ujú.
yo sé que este tipo de fuerza y energía es lo que es necesario, pero
Ujú.
en más, ¿no?
Ujú. Así es. Well, Hunter, thank you so much for your time. I'm not going to take more time from you because you must be busy, but thank you so much for allowing me to interview you. And I hope that we can have another episode. And because I love to have people like you on my podcast.
Vamos, let's do it. Y la próxima vez desde un restaurante venezolano en Atlanta.
Cool, cool. I will love that. All
Perfecto.
right. Well, have a blessed day and God bless you. And thank you so much. All right.
Igual,
Bye
gracias.
bye.